Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Life? Okay. Dandavat Pranam to all of the Vaishnavas. All glories to Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Sundara Ki Jai. West London Mat Ki Jai.
Jai Kumkum Didi Ki.
Jai Om Vishnupada Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaja Ki Jai. So we're very fortunate today to continue hearing most high topics in the Rāmānanda Sampad. And we're hearing now of the descriptions of Srimati Radharani. So we give all our Dandavat, our respects to these words which are given to us by the grace of Srila Kṛṣṇadāsa Gosvāmī, and Srila Gurudev did indicate to us we should always read them, even though they are so high, have no particular comment on them. But we can hear, and that hearing is eternally purifying. It will help our heart. Now, beginning with text, I will back up to text 160. Primera Paramasara Mahabhava Jani, say Mahabhava Rupa Radha Thakurani. The essential part of love of Godhead is called Mahabhav, transcendental ecstasy, and that ecstasy is represented by Srimati Radharani. Now a quote from the Ujjvala Nilamani of Srila Rupa Goswami. Tayur apyabayor madhye radhika savatadika mahabhava swarupayam guner ati variyasi. Among the gopis of Vrindavan, Srimati Radharani and another gopi are considered chief. However, when we compare the gopis, it appears that Srimati Radharani is most important because her real feature expresses the highest ecstasy of love. The ecstasy of love experienced by the other gopis cannot be compared to that of Srimati Radharani. Premera Swarupa Deha Prema Vibhavita Krishnera Prayasi Shrestha Jagate Vidita. The body of Srimati Radharani is the veritable transformation of love of Godhead. She is the dearmost friend of Krishna, and this is known throughout the world. Now a quote from Brahma Samhita, chapter 5. This is text 37. Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavi Tabis Tabirya Eva Nija Rupataya Kalabi Golokayeva Nivascha Kilatma Bhuto Govindam Maripurusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who resides in his own realm, Goloka, with Radha, who resembles his own spiritual figure and who embodies the ecstatic potency, Hladini. Their companions are her confidants, who embody extensions of her bodily form and who are imbued and permeated with ever blissful spiritual rasa. Say Mahabhavahaya Chintamani Sara Krishna Vancha Purnakare Ekaya Tanra. That supreme ecstasy of Srimati Radharani is the essence of spiritual life. Her only business is to fulfill all the desires of Krishna. Mahabhava Chintamani Radhara Surupa Lalita Lalitadi Saki Tanrakaya Vyuharupa. Srimati Radharani is the topmost spiritual gem, and the other gopis, Lalita, Vishaka, and so on, are expansions of her spiritual body. Radha Prati Krishna Sneha Sugandhi Udvartana Tateati Sugandhi Deha Ujvala Varana. Srimati Radharani's transcendental body is brilliant in luster and full of all transcendental flavors. Lord Krishna's affection for her is like a perfumed massage. Text 167. Kṛṣṇadāsa Rāya snana pratama Tarunyamrita Rāya snana madhyama. Srimati Radharani takes her first bath in the shower of the nectar of compassion, and she takes her second bath in the nectar of youth. Lavanyamrita Rāya tad uparisnana Nija laja shama patasati paridana. After her midday bath, Radharani takes another bath in the nectar of bodily luster, and she puts on the garment of shyness, which is exactly like a black silk sari. Krishna anuraga dvitiya aruna vasana pranayamana kanchulikaya vaksha achadana. Srimati Radharani's affection for Krishna is the upper garment, which is pinkish in color. She then covers her breasts with another garment, comprised of affection and anger towards Krishna. Sandarya kunkuma saki pranaya chandana smita kanti kapuratine ange vile pana. Srimati Radharani's personal beauty is compared to the reddish powder known as Kumkum. Her affection for her associates is compared to sandalwood pulp, and the sweetness of her smile is compared to camphor. All these combined together are smeared over her body. Krishnera ujvala rasa mrigamadabara se mrigamadi vichitrita kalivara. Conjugal love for Krishna is just like an abundance of musk. By that musk, her whole body is decorated. Prachanamana vamya damila vinasa Dhira dhiratmaka guna ange patavasa. Covered anger and craftiness constitute the arrangement of her hair. The quality of anger due to jealousy is just like the silk covering her body. Raga tambula rage adara ujvala prema kautilya netra yugale kajala. Her attachment for Krishna is the reddish color of betel nuts on her brilliant lips. Her double dealings in loving affairs are just like the black ointment around her eyes. Sudipta sattvika bhava harshada sanchari Esaba bhava bhushana saba ange bari. The decorated ornaments on her body are the blazing ecstasies of goodness, and these constantly existing ecstasies are headed by jubilation. All these ecstasies are like ornaments all over her body. Kila kinchitari bhava vimshati bhusita guna shreni pushpamala sarvange purita. These bodily ornaments constitute 20 kinds of ecstatic symptoms, beginning with Kila Kinchita. Her transcendental qualities are the flower garland hanging in fullness over her body. Shobhagya tilaka charu lalate ujvala prema vaichitya ratna hridaya tarala. The tilak of fortune is on her beautiful broad forehead. Her various loving affairs are a gem, and her heart is the locket. Madhya-līlā saki skande karanyasa Krishna-līlā manuvriti saki ashapasa. Srimati Radharani's gopi friends are her mental activity of a friend who represents youth. Nijanga Sorabalaya Garva Paryanka Tate Vasyache Sarachinte Krishna Sangha. Srimati Radharani's bedstead is pride itself, and it is situated in the abode of her bodily aroma. She is always seated there thinking of Krishna's association. Krishna Nama Guna Yasha Avantansakane Krishna Nama Guna Yasha Pravaha Vachani. Srimati Radharani's earrings represent the name, fame, and qualities of Lord Krishna. The glories of Lord Krishna's name, fame, and qualities are always inundating her speech. Caitanya-caritāmṛta Shama Rasa Marupana Nirantara Purnakare Krishnera Sarvakama. Srimati Radharani induces Krishna to drink the honey of the conjugal relationship. She is therefore engaged in satisfying all the lusty desires of Krishna. Krishnera Vishuddha Prema Ratnera Akara Anupama Gunagana Purnakale Vara. Srimati Radharani is exactly like a mine filled with valuable jewels of love for Krishna. Her transcendental body is complete with unparalleled spiritual qualities. Now a lengthy quote from Sri Govindalīlamrita, 11th canto by Kṛṣṇadāsa Kavirāja. And it's a verse in the form of questions and answers describing the glories of Srimati Radharani. If one asks about the origin of love of Krishna, the answer is that the origin is in Srimati Radharani alone, the origin of love of Krishna. Who is the most dear friend of Krishna? The answer again is Srimati Radharani alone, no one else. Srimati Radharani's hair is very curly. Her two eyes are always moving to and fro, and her breasts are firm. Since all transcendental qualities are manifest in Srimati Radharani, she alone is able to fulfill all the desires of Krishna, no one else. Yanra subhagya guna vanche satchabama, yanra tani kala vilasa sike braja rama, yanra sundaryadi guna vanche lakshmi parvati, yanra pativrata dharma vanche arundhati. Even Satyabhama, one of the queens of Sri Krishna, desires the fortunate position and excellent qualities of Srimati Radharani. All the gopis learn the art of dressing from Srimati Radharani, and even the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, and the wife of Lord Shiva, Parvati, desire her beauty and qualities. Indeed, Arundhati, the celebrated chaste wife of Vasishtha, also wants to imitate the chastity and religious principles of Srimati Radharani. Yanra sadguna ganane Krishna napaya para, tanra guna gani be kemane jiva chara. Even Lord Krishna himself cannot reach the limit of the transcendental qualities of Srimati Radharani. How then can an insignificant living entity count them? Prabhu kahe jani lun Krishna Radha prema tattva, shunite chahiye danhara vilasa mahatva. Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu replied, "Now I have come to understand the truth of the loving affairs between Radha and Krishna. Nonetheless, I still want to hear how both of them gloriously enjoy such love." So unfortunately, I I guess we're at a stopping place for now. And tomorrow we can hear more about Lord Chaitanya asking to hear about how Radha and Krishna love. Jai Shri Caitanya-caritāmṛta ki jai. Shri Krishna Kavirāja Gosvāmī ki jai. And we can continue hearing about it from Loving Search for the Lost Servant, which is specifically helping us to go from where we are today to a little bit further. These explanations are to give us everything that we need for this. Now, this section in the chapter called Knowledge-Free Devotion is called Adam and Eve. Who knows what is Adam and Eve? Everybody? Adam and Eve?
Adam and Eve, Adam and Eva.
Okay.
What do you call them?
Adam and Eva.
Adão e Eva, em português.
I see. Okay.
The Biblia.
Okay.
Srila Guru Maharaj says, those who are suffering from hard labor naturally want rest. They are dependent on labor to live, yet it is thought to be useless and undesirable. If we are to live, we must labor. Still, it is considered a dishonorable life. Still, generally, our aspiration is how to live without labor. We are in search of a peaceful life of rest, where we are not the servants of labor. This is the general tendency in our time, in our life of struggle and labor. In the Bible, we find that when Adam and Eve were surrendered to God in heaven, their sustenance was automatic. When they fell down, they spiritually fell down, they had to earn their bread by the sweat of their brow. They were forced to labor in order to live. And it is a low and dishonorable form of life. But if we want to live, we must labor. We wonder, is there a life where one can live without labor? We find such a tendency in our life from the beginning of existence. So we aspire for freedom from karma. Actually, the hardest working person you ever will meet is looking forward to the break that they will get. They'll work so hard and earn some time off. And this is what they're mostly looking forward to. Now he's speaking about Buddha and Shankar. Both the Buddhist school and the Shankar school want to discover a place where one can live without labor. Buddha says that life itself is unnecessary, that there is in actuality no labor, no life, no existence. According to the Buddhist school, we can do away with our existence. It is a mania, a craziness, to keep up our existence in the struggling world, so we should do away with this mania. Why should we live at all? So the Buddhists advocate nirvana, the cessation of existence. Let existence stop. And Shankar says, of course there is life, but this life is not desirable. We are always suffering from injury, and there is a force which is always diminishing us, and ultimately we die. We are challenged by slow death, slow poison. It is true that life in the world of mortality is undesirable. Then what is the solution? Shankar says that the endeavor to maintain one's individual self is undesirable. There is no possibility of maintaining individuality and at the same time enjoying real peace, eternal peace. So we shall have to give up the charm of individual life. This is that philosophy. Just don't have any and merge. According to Shankar, There is one universal spirit, and that is a blissful conception. We are merely reflections of that. That spirit has been reflected everywhere. Somehow it has created this mysterious individual ego or consciousness. We must not be very eager to maintain this false ego. We must dissolve it. And when that is done, we shall find that only spirit remains. Sounds like the solution, right? So there's no labor, no stress. In our present condition, there can be no cure to the disease of mortality. At every moment, we are losing ourselves in some way or other. This cannot be solved. But Buddha and Shankar have given only a partial understanding. But Srimad Bhagavatam says the proper solution is to practice abnegation, detachment from the environment, by seeing it in relation to the service of Krishna. So actually, in Srimad Bhagavatam, the Vaishnavas are following this idea that there's not a problem with the world and everything that that entails, such as our having to labor. But when we see that we're detached from all of that, we're not thinking, oh, give me that, I'll be happy if I can have all of that, I'll be happy if I can have more than anybody else. So not like that, detachment from this environment. But how? Not like Shankar says, not like the Buddha says. Seeing it in relation to the service of Krishna. So we see some people working so hard to make a beautiful garden. For who? And so you have this beautiful garden, and then you see the fruits of that garden everywhere in relation to the service of Krishna. So this kind of labor does not make us miserable. This does not feel like labor. This feels like the happiness that comes from the love that Krishna gives us when we try to be his servant. That knowledge by which you can attain perfection while maintaining your own individuality, interest, and prospect is possible only with bhakti, devotion, dedication. By exploitation, you have to die. And by abnegation, you merge into a sort of zero, Viraja, Brahmaloka, in some unknown quarter, never to rise from there again. But I recommend, this is Guru Maharaj speaking, the kind of renunciation and knowledge which is embraced by devotion, dedication to Krishna. If you accept that, then your inner self, your true self, can live forever in a happy life. So our inner self is not laboring so hard and miserable. Our inner self can live in a very happy life forever. Nishkarmya means no pain of labor. A labor of love is the innate function of the soul. Do you know what innate means? It means this totally our nature, our internal nature, innate. It's in here. And that is a labor of love. In our ordinary conception, labor carries a reaction. As we labor, things diminish and vanish, attacked by death. But these difficulties have all been eliminated by the recommendations given in Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam advocates, proposes that we practice vairagya and jnana embraced with bhakti, a life of dedication. Bhagavatam says, shake off exploitation and renunciation. Like, don't take exploiting this world, and also don't think that I can simply renounce it and go away. You will not have to depend on them. They can be absorbed by dedication. So exploitation and renunciation can be absorbed by dedication. Just like we see, look in the kitchen, there's so many beautiful fruits and veggies and grains and milk and all of that. You see it as for Krishna, then you're not thinking of getting rid of it. Like, oh, this is too hard. You're not thinking like that. And you're not thinking, let me work so hard, this terrible labor where I have to produce it. You're not thinking like that either. They, both that exploitation as well as the renunciation become taken care of when we have devotion. We see everything as it's meant to be. Renunciation and knowledge are complete in devotion. And at the same time, you can maintain your individuality. We sometimes hear the philosophies of we don't need individuality, we're all part of one big spirit. And this is really not very pleasing. An intelligent person will not conclude, I don't need to be an individual. I can just absorb myself into the great oneness. There's no pleasure in that. And an intelligent person can understand that. Srimad Bhagavatam has harmonized knowledge and renunciation by supplying their very life in devotion. Through devotion, we can maintain our individuality, our activity, our prospect, and at the same time find immense peace and ecstasy in life. Srimad Bhagavatam offers us a happy, eternal life simply by adding dedication to jnana and karma. So we want to do these activities, right? People who say it's activities that cause our misery, so let's don't have activity. But what about if you love to do something like garden or cook or read or all of these activities? Really, we don't want to do away with those. So we can be very peaceful. None of that has to cause us any problem by doing them in bhakti. You will work or energize, but it will not come under the jurisdiction of karma, which has a reaction. Your energy will be used for the center. Bhagavad Gita tells us, work only for the center. Otherwise, you will be tied down with a reaction. So it has been made clear that a very laudable life, a praiseworthy life, is possible for us if we dedicate ourselves to the highest center. That is neither dishonorable nor tiresome. Neither is it ignorance. So we should take this course which Srimad Bhagavatam recommends for us. If we are attentive to that and try to follow the advice coming from the real source, from real saintly persons, we will become properly adjusted. We will develop a proper understanding, and everything will be harmonized. One who has this realization will be victorious over all possible suggestions or conceptions of knowledge, will be victorious. Only by devotion, by dedication to Krishna, can we very easily become free from ignorance in the world of suffering. To be a devotee means to serve. Service is everything. Our proper life is to be found in dedicating ourselves and in self-distribution, not self-aggrandizement. We can live in service. All difficulties will be removed if we take to the line of dedication. There we will find everything, our individuality, the most favorable environment, our highest prospect. Only our angle of vision should be changed. And that angle of vision should be acquired through the center. We must try to understand how everything will be seen in relation to the center. Whatever we see, we must try to study its position in accordance with the center. We must locate or calculate what its position is in relation to the center. And with that angle of vision, we may establish our relationship to anything. If we can develop this vision, we will get relief from all undesirability this is the teaching of Srimad Bhagavatam, that seeing everything as the center. So how did the fruits and vegetables get here? Lavanya Moy, someone is shopping. And why is she getting them? For the deity. Why is somebody coming, especially on Saturdays, and they organize and they cut and everything is so nicely organized? Because this serves Krishna. So where are the devotees walking to? Why have they taken a shower and they're looking so happy and they're walking? To the temple to see Mahaprabhu, the center. If we are attentive to that and try to follow the advice coming from the real source, from saintly persons, we will become properly adjusted. We will develop a proper understanding. Everything will be harmonized. So we like this idea of things being harmonized. This is how. This is the speciality of Bhagavat philosophy. It always tries to establish the conception of divine love, divine sentiment, and divine feeling above intellectualism and the mastery over energy.
Continue from where you left. This is the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam, right? This is the specialty of Bhagavat philosophy. It always tries to establish the conception of divine love, divine sentiment, and divine feeling above intellectualism, and the mastery over energy. The master of power and the masters of knowledge have no value if devoid of the master of love. On the other hand, if it is possible for one devoid of knowledge and power to enter into the area of love, his life is successful. His movement is no longer considered as reactionary labor, karma, and his knowledge is real knowledge about Krishna, Sambandha Gyan. Real knowledge about Krishna is paraphernalia, and who is who in the spiritual world is not within the jurisdiction of the knowledge that we can obtain by conducting scientific research. It is not like that. It is fulfilled in itself. And the Varsi Narada came to Vedavyas and recommended to him, you must introduce this very clearly in your present book. In the Vedas and Upanishads and in the Mahabharata, you have dealt previously with different aspects of knowledge and work. But it is not so clear, and now very clearly and definitely you should describe the success of life in its fullest form, independent of knowledge and energy. It is possible to reinstate ourselves with our lost wealth, independent of energy and intellectual research. So maybe you can comment on that, perhaps. I give you back your microphone.
So actually everyone is seeking for we're seeking for relief from labor. Everyone can agree on that. And we're also seeking knowledge. We don't like to be ignorant. But if we become too absorbed in knowledge and acquiring knowledge, we'll go wrong. We won't attain full knowledge ever. Many people just stay in the university system. They keep acquiring more and more degrees. They get titles, their doctorate of this and doctorate of this, and they probably become professors themselves, and never do they uncover what is the most basic understanding of reality in this world. How does this world go? But the devotee who hears from Srimad Bhagavatam, from Caitanya-caritāmṛta, and all of the books, all of the writings, all of the talks from the real saintly persons, like we get to hear about every single moment of every day, as much as we wish. They have the complete understanding automatically. And sometimes we see that even an uneducated person can explain everything about how is the world working, which means they're not disturbed by anything, because they know everything is in Krishna's hands. And so then when we hear someone else trying to attain knowledge, then we think, come a little further. You know, you're gaining something, but hear from a real saint, and then you will attain what you're looking for. Or if it's about exploitation, we desire something in this world, it's exactly like what is given by Dhruva, the young prince who wanted to have a great kingdom. And so he followed the proper path and tried to attain this, but the end result was that Krishna, he became the great, great devotee of Krishna, and his conclusion was, you were offering me the most valuable jewels, and when I was desperately seeking for little broken pieces of glass. So that's the feeling that we will have, that we don't need the things of this world, like the Prabhu who was understanding when the earthquake caused him to lose everything. And he was thinking, I have everything, I have the opportunity to surrender to Krishna. So this is for us as well, just by sticking with this. We're very, very fortunate, so we give full obeisance to our teachers, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Raksaka Sridhara Dev Goswami Maharaj, Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti Madhusudan Maharaj. And we're so, so grateful for their keeping us connected in the proper line, to not be bewildered. We'll go on practicing now. Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Yadavaya Madhavaya Kesavaya Namaha Gopal Govindaram Srimad Sudan Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan Shri Caitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopala Bhakta Dasa Raghunath Echai Goshai Kori Charana Vandan Jai Te Vignana Sabisa Puran Echai Goshai Kori Kṛṣṇadāsa Sansabara Pada Renu Mora Panchagras Chandra Charana Sevi Bhakta Sani Bhas Janame Janame Mor Eya Bilas Echai Goshai Kori Charabas Radha Krishna Nitya-līlā Korila Prakash Vraja Vrindavan.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Padma
Shri Guru Vaishnava Padma Koriyar.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Padma Koriyasa.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Padma Koriyar.
Hari Nama Sankirtana Kohari Narottama Das.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Gaura Hari Bo. Jai.
Sri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki jai.
Jai.
Glory to Sri Rupa Nuku Buddhavaka ki jai. All glory to Sri Maharaja Thakur ki jai. All glory to Sri A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Nandi Prati Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Sri Bhakti Krishna ki jai.
Jai.
Sri Vishnupada Chakravarti Prabhu ki jai.
Jai.
Sri Rāmānanda Srinivasa Acharya Prabhu ki jai.
Jai.
Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur ki jai. Sri Kṛṣṇadāsa Kavirāja ki jai. All glory to Sri Rupa Sanatana Pata Vakana Sri Jiva Pada Pata Tasa Vakana 6 Gosvamis of Vrindavan ki jai. Sarveshwara Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. Srimad Mahāprabhu ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Krishna Gopi Gopinath Mukundra Mukundra Devi ki jai.
Jai.
Devi ki jai. Sri Bhakti Vigna Vinashai Sri Simbadev ki jai. Bhakti Prabhupada Maharaja ki jai. Thank you, Janamati ki jai. Grandvar Srimad Bhagavatam Caitanya-caritāmṛta ki jai. Vishnupada ki jai. Paramahamsa ki Caitanya-caritāmṛta ki jai. Kṛṣṇadāsa Mahāni ki jai. Kṛṣṇadāsa Brahma ki jai. Kavirāja ki jai. Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta ki jai. Madhya-līlā ki jai. Sri Rāmānanda ki jai. Sri Rāmānanda ki jai. Vrindavan Kṛṣṇadāsa ki jai. Attain individuality ki jai. Sri Kavirāja ki jai. Sri Sridhara ki jai. Samaveta Vaishnava ki jai. Vrindavan ki jai. Kṛṣṇadāsa ki jai. All glory to all the assembled devotees ki jai. All glory to devotees all over the world ki jai. All glory to Harinam ki jai. All glory to the Mahāmantra ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanandi. All glory to assembled devotees again and again. And Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol.
Hari